Rising from the cold waters of San Francisco Bay stood a prison unlike any other. Alcatraz was believed to be the one place from which no one could ever escape. The freezing water, violent currents, and strong tides formed a natural barrier that many believed was even more dangerous than the prison itself. Long before it became America's most famous prison, Alcatraz served as a military fortress guarding San Francisco Bay.
Soon, the island evolved into a military prison, housing soldiers convicted of serious crimes. In 1934, Alcatraz was transformed into America's most secure federal prison, designed to hold the nation's most dangerous criminals, a fortress rising from the rock. Its reputation quickly became legendary. The government claimed that escaping Alcatraz was simply impossible. Even if someone escaped the prison walls, the freezing bay could kill within minutes. Every movement was watched. Every prisoner was counted. Every mistake could cost a life. Inside these walls, discipline ruled every second of every day. Each inmate lived inside a small concrete cell with almost nothing but a bed, a sink, and silence. Life followed a strict routine. Every meal, every step, and every conversation was carefully controlled. Even the dining hall was considered dangerous. Guards remained ready to respond within seconds if violence erupted. Among Alcatraz's most famous prisoners was the notorious gangster Al Capone, whose criminal empire once terrified America. Here, he was just another inmate. Over the years, dozens attempted to escape. Nearly all were captured, killed, or disappeared into the freezing bay. Eventually, Alcatraz earned a terrifying reputation. No prisoner had ever successfully escaped, or so everyone believed. In January 1960, a new prisoner arrived at Alcatraz. His name was Frank Morris. Unlike most inmates, he wasn't known for violence. He was known for his extraordinary intelligence. With an exceptionally high IQ and several successful prison escapes already behind him, Morris immediately began studying every weakness inside Alcatraz. Soon, Morris met two brothers, John and Clarence Anglin. Together, they would attempt something the world believed was impossible. Hidden behind ordinary prison work, the three men quietly began planning what would become the most famous prison escape in American history. One small detail caught Morris's attention. The concrete surrounding the ventilation shaft was slowly deteriorating. Using homemade tools, he carefully removed tiny pieces of concrete night after night, making sure no guard noticed. For nearly 6 months, the prisoners patiently widened the openings. Every night, they came one step closer to freedom. Everything they used was built from stolen or discarded prison materials. Nothing was purchased, nothing was smuggled inside. Their ingenuity turned scraps into survival tools. Behind the prison walls, they secretly built equipment that could one day carry them beyond Alcatraz. To fool the guards during nightly inspections, they created lifelike dummy heads using soap, paper, paint, and real human hair. When the lights went out, the fake heads remained in their beds, making it appear as though the prisoners were still asleep. On the night of June 11, 1962, everything was finally ready. One by one, the men slipped through the holes they had spent months creating, leaving only the fake heads behind. They silently crawled through narrow maintenance tunnels hidden above the prison blocks, places no guard ever expected prisoners to reach. For the first time, they stood outside the prison walls, but the most dangerous part of their escape had only just begun. Using homemade ropes, the men carefully descended the prison walls. One mistake would have meant certain death. hidden near the shoreline, waited their greatest invention: a handmade raft built from more than 50 stolen prison raincoats. Without hesitation, they pushed the raft into the freezing bay and disappeared into the darkness. No one knows exactly what happened after that. The darkness swallowed both the men and their raft. The following morning, everything appeared normal, until a guard reached for what he believed was a sleeping prisoner. Within seconds, alarms echoed across the island. The impossible had happened. 3 prisoners were gone. An enormous search operation began immediately. Boats, helicopters, and FBI agents searched every corner of the bay. But despite days of searching, no bodies were ever recovered and no definitive evidence was found. Investigators carefully reconstructed every step of the escape, trying to determine whether the men had survived. The tunnel's condition raised doubts about their survival.
The escapees remained on the FBI's wanted list for years, but no confirmed sighting ever solved the mystery. More than 50 years later, a mysterious letter appeared. Its anonymous author claimed to be one of the escapees and said he had survived.
To this day, no one knows for certain whether they drowned or escaped to freedom.
Today, millions of visitors walk the same prison corridors, wondering how 3 men vanished without a trace. More than 60 years have passed. Yet the Alcatraz escape remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries.
Perhaps they perished beneath the freezing waves, or perhaps they accomplished what the world believed was impossible. The truth may never be known.